Yap sesh! Boys, welcome back to another video. Today, we're having a yap sesh. I wanted to make this video because I've seen this discussion kind of pop up here and there, and I've seen people want to have this discussion, but not necessarily have this discussion. And as someone who's only played this game for the past 2 months, and never really played any other game other than Fortnite and Lego Marvel, I feel that I'm the perfect person to talk about why Marvel Rivals has been succeeding so much. I'm the perfect person to talk about this. That's a joke. I'm not. Personally, I have really no experience in hero shooters, specifically Overwatch, prior to this game. I've played a lot of video games, so I do kind of have prior knowledge in that sense, especially in the multiplayer setting. But overall, I don't think that I'm the right guy to talk about this. However, my opinion's still valid and I want to talk about it. I say all that to say, take everything I say here with a grain of salt. Don't go off and be like, this guy said this, I'm pissed. Breathe, brother. So with that being said, let's get into the reasons why I think this game is extremely successful. Now, Marvel Rivals has been out for almost 2 months at this point, and within the first month, within a few weeks, they hit 20 million players of the game. Now, that is an absolutely insane number to hit, not just for as quickly as they did it, but just in general. That is an absurd amount of people to be playing one game. And with that and a bunch of other stats, we can obviously see that this game is successful. It's successful in every regard, by every standard. This is a game that has popped off. So why is that? Well, I think it's a multitude of reasons, starting with the big one. It's free to play. Now, free-to-play games nowadays are kind of all over the place. I feel like Fortnite was the one to kind of kick that train off and get it going, but since then, everyone's seen what you can do with a free-to-play game. Valorant is free-to-play. League is free-to-play. Obviously, Marvel Rivals is free-to-play. It's kind of become, not, I don't want to say a trend per se, but kind of the standard to create a well-made free-to-play game and then, you know, entice players to still spend money on the game and make money off the game because, okay, if I download a free-to-play game and this skin is only $15, well, I can buy 4 skins and that's equal to that of a full-price video game. So I think it's kind of the standard. With that being said, this was advertised as a free-to-play game. Now, again, I feel like that is also the standard, but they really pushed forward the idea that, hey, we are making this game. It is a live service, free-to-play game with Marvel characters. They really pushed the free-to-play, which in and of itself is going to get people to download. Now, coinciding with that is word of mouth. I think this game did like I said, did a really good job at communicating, hey, we're a free-to-play, live service, Overwatch-esque, Valorant-esque, Marvel IP game, multiplayer game, and we're free-to-play, come play it. Then, once, you know, 1 million people start playing, they're like, holy shit, this game's really fun, I think I'm addicted. They tell their friends, hey, this game's really fun, I think I'm addicted. Boom, you should get it. Oh, I don't have the money. Well, it's free. Okay, let me try it out with you. You do a quick download, play with your friends, you have a good time, boom, you have another player. So I think that in and of itself is a huge reason why it is still going strong and still growing, is the sole fact that it's free to play and it's a good game, causing people to want to keep playing it and tell their friends to keep. And I feel like a perfect example of this that everyone can view is someone like Ninja or Tim the Tapman or all of these big streamers who, you know, granted, Tim has some Overwatch experience, but, you know, recently he hasn't been playing Overwatch. Nobody's playing Overwatch. So to see these big streamers, even someone like Ninja, everyone in his chat be like, play Marvel Rivals, play Marvel Rivals. And even him kind of be like, I'm the Fortnite guy, I don't really want to play Marvel Rivals. Gives it a try, boom, now he's addicted. It's kind of, you can see it. Everyone just, it's a good game. It is not only free to play, but it is a game that the developers care about and want to make good, which brings me to my next point. This is a game that isn't just put out into the world to make money, which I kind of think that's true, but I'll get into that later. This is a game that was created and envisioned by people who really truly care about what they're doing. And I think that's something that's kind of taken for granted in the gaming industry today. And I think this is a perfect case of, if you care about the game that you're making and you really truly put in the effort to make something that you think is good, other people will agree with you. Other people will think it's good because it most likely is. If you put in that effort and you really truly care, it most likely is going to turn out to be a good game. And this, I think, is a perfect example of that. NetEase really hadn't done anything other than mobile games, and Marvel-wise hadn't done anything other than a Marvel mobile game, you know what I'm saying? So They took this and they ran with the idea. They absolutely killed it. Every single thing in this game, in my personal opinion, is great. I'm talking obviously gameplay, character design, art style, even down to UI. Even down to UI sound effects. When I click play, it sounds great. Season, great. Heroes, great. Store, great. Every single thing in this game was created with the intent of making it amazing, making it satisfying to play, making it fun to play. So I think when you take that aspect of development and you apply it to what you're developing, it's going to end up being good. And then when you take that application and it does turn out good, people will recognize it and people will want to play it, which I think are the main two big reasons that the game has succeeded to this point and succeeded as much as it has. Now on top of this is just other development parts of the game. Transparency, updates, all of these things are necessary in order to not only create and release a game that is going to be successful, but to have a live service game that you want to succeed. This is something that has to happen. So for them to only really be a month and a half into this game and still already have patch notes coming out, blogs coming out about what they're going to be changing in the game, what characters are going to be coming to the game, events that they're going to be doing, which we've already had 2 of, battle passes, seasons, lore, all of these things coincide with one another in order to create an amazing game and create an amazing universe. And this is something that, again, I think comes down to the developers, and I think it's something that they're doing very, very, very well in order to create a game that they care about and that we care about, and to create an environment in where we as players can trust them to, even if they're not doing an update that you want or putting in a character that you want, you can still trust them to provide you with the information on what they are doing. And it's the worst things when a developer says, if I say, hey, Hella's OP, and a developer says crickets, they say nothing, they don't respond, they don't talk about it. Even if you're not going to nerf Hella to the core, as long as you say, okay, we're not going to completely nerf her, we're not going to do this, but we are going to do X, Y, and Z. That's amazing. That is something that every developer needs to be doing. It's something, I hate to make this comparison, but it's something that early Fortnite did. Every single week you were getting an update and you were getting a patch notes blog describing to you in detail every single thing in the game that was going to change that week. And that's what we're getting with them. We're getting, live updates. We're getting updates weekly saying, okay, we're adding this to the game. We're changing this about the game. We're changing this about this character. This character's coming to the game. Because it's also a matter of the patch notes aren't just, little nitty-gritty details. It's here's the, Spring Festival event. With the Spring Festival event, we're also going to change X, Y, and Z about these however many characters. And, since we're already telling you about all that stuff, we're also going to tell you about our future plans. We want to do this event, and we want to add these characters on this day. Oh, on top of that, we're doing Twitch drops. Oh, on top of that, you're going to be getting this skin on this day. That sort of stuff is what makes this game great. It's what would make any game great. And I think that's another big reason for success, is transparency and communication with your community about what you're going to be doing. So keep that up, and this game as a live service game could last forever. You know what I mean? Another big one that I think a lot of people have gotten carried away with, or did get carried away with in the beginning of this, was that it was copy paste. And I feel like it's succeeded because it's not. I think a lot of people, some people still are, but a lot of people were like, oh, it's an Overwatch copy and paste. It's like, well, you could make that argument other than the fact that it's not, because Overwatch isn't good right now and this game is. If it was copy and paste, it would be trash game with Marvel characters, which they've done before. So I think that's just objectively not true, which boosts the game's success. I think that's kind of the whole idea when it first came out, was everyone was like, oh, well, it's an Overwatch copycat. And people were like, no, I'm actually having fun on this game. And so I think it kind of allowed for people to test the waters and figure it out for themselves and realize, okay, yes, maybe some of these abilities are just different heroes in the exact same abilities, but they don't play the same. They're not the same game style. They're not, well, okay, they are the same game style, but they're not the exact same game. Yes, okay, this person might be exactly like this person, but in Marvel Rivals, they play better. Little stuff, the gameplay is better, the sound effects are better, the graphics are better, whatever the case may be. I'm not saying all those are objectively true, but it's different things for different people. But overall, it's not a copy and paste in the sense that, one game's succeeding and the other is not. I feel like that's pretty blatantly obvious. So that's another thing that I think just kind of boosted it, was that they took a already popular hero shooter genre and this kind of twist of adding your own art style and all this stuff, and they meshed it with the final thing that I think really pushed this game to succeed, and that is the Marvel IP. Now, I think it's pretty obvious that that's a big pillar of what's holding this game up, but I also think it's a really interesting one. Now, earlier I did mention how I think, you know, it's kind of just a tool for making money. Actually, I said it's not, but I do kind of think it is, and I was talking about this with some friends of mine. I think this game is sort of an instrument of marketing, but I find that interesting given the fact that they care a lot about it. The developers aren't treating it as such. And what I mean by that is, obviously it is a Marvel game. Like I said, I think that is a big part of why this game has succeeded as much as it has. I think a lot of people are, you know, even just MCU crazy, and they're like, oh, I love this character, I love that character. But what's really interesting about it is that's kind of what drew people in. I'm a huge Marvel fan. That's what drew me in initially. But then, okay, if I get on the game just because it's Marvel and I'm like, I want to play as Spider-Man, I get on the game and realize, oh, it's kind of Overwatch. And then it clicks, wait, this game is fun. This is a really well-made game. Everything about this game is great. All the characters are like borderline OP, which makes the game balanced. The art style is really unique. They all have their own lore within this Marvel Rivals universe. There's cool skins. And then everything kind of starts to fall in place because of the fact that it's a Marvel game. And that to me is where it all links up and clicks on the idea that it is almost guaranteed to succeed. There is no way that this game fails. Because if you really truly think about it, the longevity of this game is kind of dependent on that Marvel brand. I mean, what is the MCU doing? Okay, we have a Battle Pass or skin for that. We have a million different skins we can pull from the comics, not to mention create our own for this game, which they have already done many times. We have an infinite amount of characters that we can put into this game. There is a surplus of reasons why Marvel alone is kind of the pillar, the cornerstone that's holding up this game, and I think that's a really cool aspect. And that's also what I mean by it's kind of a marketing strategy, because obviously everyone knows Wolverine, but you know, maybe somebody doesn't really know stories of Wolverine, so they play the game, they're having fun as Wolverine, they're like, wow, I'm really like enjoying Wolverine, I'm Wolverine, this is awesome, this is fun, I want to learn more about him. Boom, they spend a Marvel Rivals subscription, they get, you know, they go on Disney Plus to watch the X-Men movies. All of these different things kind of correlate to the game, and I think that's a really interesting part, and is why it's kind of succeeding, is the sense that there are people who just played Overwatch and they said, hero shooter, I'll give it a try, and it's fun. And then there's people who, you know, Marvel, I love Marvel comics, let me play as my favorite superhero. And then there's people in between, and I think that's a really cool aspect and a huge aspect as to why this game has succeeded as Marvel, man. It is just strictly superheroes. It is cool superheroes with cool skins that you get to play as with cool abilities, and the IP is heavily pushing this game to be successful. So overall, I think this game was bound to succeed from the start, and it really just helps that the developers actually care what they're doing, which is honestly surprising for a modern day Marvel game. But I'm really not complaining. Overall, the fact that we have this game is an absolute blessing. I love it to death. It is so fun. Again, the developers care. I love Marvel. There is a surplus of content that we could get in the future and definitely are getting in the future. Game modes, characters, skins, everything about this game is going to be so good. So let me know what you guys think about the game. Do you disagree with my takes? Honestly, I feel that most of them are pretty objectively true. Some of them are subjective, but I feel like most of them are pretty true. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you glad this game is succeeding? Do you still wish Overwatch was top dog? Let me know what you think in the comments. Be sure to follow the Insta, the TikTok, join the Discord, link in bio. I love you, kiss you in your mouth, and goodbye? Bro, if this game was a person,